What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Swigger coming at you with another high ELO commentary game. This one mainly going to be focused on the odd one, the jungler from Team Solo Mid, or TSM. There's also a couple pretty big names in this game. Crs Rhux, the new support player for Team Curse, is going to be in this game playing Lee Sin up in the top lane. And one thing I actually noticed, I thought that this was just a kind of a troll making Wildturtle's account or things like that, but I did look it up. Wildturtle without the E is actually an alternate ID for Wildturtle, the AD carry for Team Solo Mid. So it could very well be that the Wildturtle and OddOne are actually duo queuing in the ranked solo queue. So it could be very, very interesting to see. But the team dynamic between the OddOne and the Wildturtle going to be coming out in this this little game here. Just wanted to say before this whole thing starts that I just wanted to thank all of my fans, all my supporters who are watching my channel, watching my games. I've been very appreciative of all of it, and we're getting right into the action, so very short thank you there. But Zyra trying to get away from this Amumu and the Orianna. Amumu trying to chase down Zyra. The ultimate coming out from the Zyra. It is a little bit later in the game, but it is still 0-0, so hopefully we hit the first blood here. But the Grasping Roost coming out from Zyra, not actually managing to land onto Amumu. He will probably have enough mana to land his Q at some point if he can land it. Probably not even going to worry about it. Just going to turn on his AoE, take down that Zyra, no problem at all. Zyra's probably going to use that passive just to take down Amumu a little bit further, make his jungle a tiny bit more difficult. But as I was just saying before, no, I'm probably not going to be able to say that because more damage is now going on to Wildturtle in the bot lane. Looks like things are dying down now, though. Just wanted to say thank you to all of my my supporters, people watching my channel, all the likes and comments and constructive criticism and even the hate mail. You know, it happens. But honestly, it's been nothing but good for me. I can't believe that this has actually grown into something where I have over 350 subscribers and almost 200,000 views. It's absolutely incredible, and I've been having a great time doing it. So hopefully you guys enjoy these commentaries and my games and my channel, and couldn't thank you guys enough for it. This is all for you anyways. So great ultimate coming out from Rhux, knocking Darius, there we go, into the turret shot, but the passive is going to actually come out, and the bleed effect coming out from Darius going to be enough to take down that Lee Sin. Rhux getting killed up there. Now the odd one trying his luck at the Darius, but he actually misses the rupture, but he does manage to take down the Darius, but once again the bleed is actually going to be enough to take down the odd one. Quite unfortunate there. If the odd one had actually managed to land that rupture, might have been a different story if he could rupture and then feast afterwards, but instead he missed the rupture, and then the flash came out of the Darius to finish up that kill on the odd one. So 2 for 1 in that top lane. Not the best scenario, but as we all know, Darius does tend to get those kills just because of his ultimate, that lovely reset on the Noxian Guillotine. Hint, hint, Riot, maybe a little bit of a change might be needed there. But Wildturtle taking a little bit of a harass on here from the Caitlyn and the Lulu. And look at the damage coming out, but Caitlyn's actually going to flash try to get this one down. The cleanse coming out to get the exhaust off, but it looks like Sona might actually die here. But no, a great flash, but here comes the ultimate from Caitlyn. Not going to be enough health on the Sona to actually take that one away. Tried to get that heal off, but really not going to be enough. Here's the Q, great Q off onto the Zyra, and there's the ultimate from the Orianna, and wow, an ultimate coming out from the Amumu, the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and everything just blowing up that Zyra. I think it was the dissonance at the end that ended up killing Zyra, but all that CC onto that AP mid Zyra, just not going to be able to survive that one. Very, very tough to survive that. So Darius now once again going out onto Rhux. A flash coming in to try to kick him into the tower. Great kick, actually, landing that Q as well to bring him into the turret. Take a couple shots and queuing back to him, getting that resonating strike on, doing a lot of damage. But as we can see, even with 2 turret shots, that trade was hugely in favor of the Darius. And sadly, Rhux does not really have any life regen here. He's just got that Vampiric Scepter to kind of get a few little life steals from it, and also his shield. Going to be doing a little bit, but the odd one now coming up, trying to find this Darius, but he did just use his rupture, so it's going to be another second until his rupture comes off of cooldown, and we've got some action in the mid lane. Orianna taking a lot of damage from these enraged plants from Zyra's ultimate, but Amumu is here to support this one, so Orianna might actually try to bait this one out a little bit, see if they can pick one up here, but Amumu's just backing off, probably going to go and take his wraiths, or go and try to support that top lane to make sure that the tower does not fall. Thank you, everybody in this game, for not making all the action at the same time so I could take a breath every now and again. And here we go, a lot of damage going down onto the Amumu, the Feast coming out of the OddOne, and that is actually going to be enough to take him down, so an assist going to the Lee Sin as well, Rupture coming out, and the Flash coming out of the OddOne, just because of Darius's Apprehend being scary enough. He does not want to get grabbed by that Darius, because he's already sitting with quite a bit of AD, and he's up 2-1-0, not somebody that you really want to face right now. His Ignite also is almost up, so he's going to be that much more deadly to that Lee Sin. In the top lane. Probably going to need a lot of support from the OddOne. But as I say that, he's also farming on the other side of Darius's tower. So obviously feeling confident that he can... But once again, more damage into this mid lane. The Grasping Roots comes out and actually does manage to grab Orianna. And there's the kill from the Zyra. Unbelievable plays coming out of Dazer on that Zyra. Managing to root down the Orianna. Dodging out of some damage, flashing away from that, the flash even being blown from the Orianna, but that last auto attack not being enough to kill Zyra, and it looks like Zyra didn't even use her ultimate, so I'm not exactly sure what transpired before that kill, but Zyra had her ultimate in her back pocket, or it just came up to kind of fend that one off, so she must be feeling pretty good about that lane, knowing that she didn't use her ultimate to get her that kill. The next time she comes back to that lane, probably going to feel even more confident that Orianna burned her ultimate and she didn't, and she managed to get the kill. So, very, very interesting stuff. And as we can see the difference between the mid players, Zyra favoring that Ignite over the barrier that Orianna's running. Going to be very cool to see what really triumphs in the late game. Having that extra damage or being able to survive if everybody dives in onto you. But it looks like the red team is going for a dragon here. 11 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. Definitely a good time to go and get a dragon, I would assume. And the OddOne actually does not look like he has any stacks on him. I'm going to just click him here. He does have 2 stacks, so not really the best position to be in as a jungle Cho'Gath when you're level 8. You do certainly hope to have a few more stacks than that, but you get to this point where, and there you go, he just did grab another stack, but the risk that you run with Cho'Gath is now his Feast is down, which is not only a huge source of damage if you get into a fight, it's great to have during a team fight, but it's also great to have for your combination with your Smite, because it makes it nearly impossible to steal that away. The Wild Growth going down onto the Caitlyn, trying to keep her alive. Ezreal getting a lot of damage down. The red buff actually ticking to take her down. A great combination of ultimates. The Sona ultimate with the Amumu ultimate, stunning everybody that was currently in that fight. But Sona being taken down from the Amumu, Lulu and Amumu just too much. So double kill down in the bot lane just for that Caitlyn. Not necessarily worth it, in my opinion, but it was just great placement from that Amumu. It didn't seem as though there were any wards except for in that Tri-Brush from the blue team, and that would probably have something to do with the red team putting down that early pink ward to try to get that dragon control, clear out those wards in that bottom river. So can't really blame them on that one, but Sona certainly needs to invest in some pink wards, which she has already done. So good on you, Sona. I find good on me too for kind of knowing those things. Every now and again I do sometimes sound like I know what I'm talking about, even though it is very, very rarely. So looking up into this top lane, there's still quite a substantial lead in gold between the two teams. But here's the OddOne once again trying to gank this Darius. He does miss his Rupture, but Rhux just puts down a ward. God, I hate saying Rhux. I keep on thinking I'm saying Lux. Puts down a ward to try to gain some distance to the Darius. The Rupture actually lands on this one, and Rhux is actually just jumping to this ward. It's actually great ward placement, allowing him to kind of ping-pong around. But now it looks like they're going to try to dive this turret. The Rupture does land, and the Q from Rhux, the Resonating Strike taking him down, and the OddOne's actually going to escape from that one as well as Rhux. So as I was talking about that ward previously, it ended up paying real dividends because Rhux just got to jump from that ward to Darius to the OddOne, really made a nice triangle that he could kind of go around and avoid the Darius damage. Very good play on that Rhux, and now the Rhux is the support player for Team Curse, so interesting to see him up in the top lane. So just turned my mic off there for a second, did have to sneeze, didn't want that going right into the microphone. Hopefully that actually cancels it out, but the flash coming out of the Ezreal and also the Lulu, definitely would rather trade the AD carry flash for the support flash any day. A lot of damage coming down from that Orianna, but there's Ezreal using his Arcane Shift to try to get over to do as much damage to the Orianna as he can. His ultimate is almost up, and Orianna is kind of in that scary danger zone where an Ezreal ultimate could probably kill her. Not if she puts her shield on, but Amumu going back. Looks like they're not really trying to engage on this one. But there's the Ezreal ultimate. Not actually enough to kill Orianna. The Lulu ultimate, I think, coming in at the exact right... Sorry, not the Lulu ultimate, the Lulu shield. Coming in at the exact right time to actually take a little bit of damage away from that Ezreal ultimate on the Orianna. I don't know if it was that kept her alive or whether it would have killed her otherwise, but still, great timing and great placement on that Ezreal ultimate. It was in an unwarded brush, so... Overall, just great game sense from Wildturtle. And I always find it interesting. I don't actually know why Wildturtle is playing on his alternate ID. Maybe just likes where his standing or ranking is on his main account. But who knows? If I ever meet him, I'll ask him, and I'll try to post something about it. But he is actually going for that blue Ezreal build. Grasping Roots coming down onto the Orianna, but a lot of damage being done onto Zyra, and she is pretty out of mana, so I don't think she really wants to fight that Orianna right now. But I haven't actually seen Wildturtle play a lot of Ezreal, and I have not seen him do the blue Ezreal build that was very, very popular in the American LCS. I believe it was Korea that started that one, but I could very well be wrong. The Crescendo coming out of Sona, but it is going to be cleansed immediately off by that Caitlyn, so Summoner Spell for the Crescendo, not a horrible trade. But as I was saying before, I don't know if it was Korea or Southern Asia or wherever that thing was actually kind of popularized, but people like Don't Mash Me on GGU really kind of took it to heart and really started utilizing it in the NA scene, and it just did incredible amounts of damage, really kind of took away that... mid-game, early-game kind of deficit, I would say, that Ezreal kind of had. He is actually more mid-game, I would say, but that early-game damage really spikes with that Spirit of the Elder Lizard. And when you get that Sheen on top of it, and then when you finally finish your Mana Immune into that Mirror Mana, he ends up doing a lot of damage, and he can just spam his spells every day, Uri Day, for some of my gangster friends out there, Uri Day. But I can't believe I actually just said that. Oh, well. Rhux is now being ganked up in this top lane from the Amumu and the Darius, but just going to use that Safeguard and Iron Will to get away from that one on a minion. Looks like he's probably going to lose this top turret because there is no support coming from the TheOddOne or Zyra right now. So he's just going to have to let that turret fall. The turret's now being 2-1 in favor of the red team. The red team did manage to get that bottom turret very quickly over top of Wildturtle and Zephix. I've not heard that name before. Hopefully I'll see more of Zephix. More of any of these people, actually. I really want to see more of this Zyra play because you rarely see Zyra in the mid lane, and I think Riot was actually meaning for Zyra to be a mid lane champion, but really got... look at the dodges coming out of Orianna, unreal. Just these little side steps really making all the difference there, blocking all of the CC coming out of Cho'Gath and Zyra. But as I was saying before, Riot was kind of looking for Zyra to be that mid lane champion with a kind of unique characteristic about her with the seeds and the sapling and the turning them into plants, but she managed to be picked up as a support, and it's all she really gets played as. So very interesting and enjoyable to see her as an AP mid every now and again, because she does still do a lot of damage when played correctly. And as we're seeing, when you play this Zyra correctly, she does a lot of damage. And provides a lot of CC. It's all around pretty good, but pretty high skill cap, I would say, on this Zyra. Amumu trying to get that Q in, but does manage to miss it and hit a minion. Not the most effective bandage toss I've ever seen, but the TheOddOne just standing on the opposite wall of that Wraith Pit, throwing as many ruptures as he can out there, trying to damage them, trying to pick off Caitlyn, so that way Zyra can land a pretty clean and crisp grasping root. But they keep on trying to put their CC onto this Orianna, and it is just not working. Orianna's just doing these little side steps and getting right out of it, but here's finally the damage going down onto Zyra, but the Lulu ultimate coming out onto Orianna, actually saving her. Everybody kind of started backing off of the Orianna, thinking that she was going to be dead, but Lulu with the impeccable timing on her wild growth, and here comes the Amumu getting a great bandage toss and flashing for the ultimate, getting Zyra and Sona doing so much damage. Zyra's still running away though when the resonating strike is onto the Amumu. He is slowed, and Rhux manages to pick up Amumu. Unreal that Zyra ended up surviving that one, but having that support from her team ended up really working out. The Darius is now in on this one, though, and Lulu flashed. I don't know what she exactly flashed for, but no, it was the Darius flashing. But here comes Wildturtle on the other side, picks up the Orianna. She was quite low, and that Spirit of the Elder Lizard just doing work against his enemy team. I don't know when... Oh, great use of the Arcane Shift on that Apprehend. Just getting out of that one alive. No worries. Didn't hit him. No problem. Wild Turtles, I love watching Wild Turtle games, and I didn't actually think that I would be casting another one so early, but I didn't know. I thought that this was just kind of like a trolley guy who changed his name to Wild Turtle without the E, just wanted to be known as Wild Turtle, but then I look him up on Leaguepedia, and yeah, this is an alternative ID to Wild Turtle, so here I am casting another Wild Turtle game, but that's why I'm trying to focus things more on Rhux and the Odd One. Trying to make it, give it a little bit more variety on my high ELO commentaries, because I know I have done quite a few Wild Turtle games as of recently, but also very, very cool to see Wild Turtle playing a whole bunch of games with a whole bunch of different AD champions, so really seeing how versatile he is. And as we're talking about his versatility, he is going head-to-head with this Caitlyn now, landing a lot of his Qs, the Arcane Shift coming out, and the Spirit of the Elder Lizard doing so much. One more shot, manages to take down Robert X. Lee on the Caitlyn. Great overall fight for Wild Turtle. Didn't even have to burn his Flash or his ultimate, while Caitlyn used her Cleanse and Flash, and certainly not going to position herself for that ultimate. It does take quite a long time to set that one off, and when you're going face-to-face with an Ezreal, probably not something that you want to kind of set up camp and try to get off on him. But now the blue team is taking this opportunity to go for this dragon. The ultimate coming down from the Zyra, and also the Ezreal ultimate going across the Lulu and another player. The Sona ultimate coming out, actually hitting the tanky line of the red team, Amumu and Darius. The Wild Growth going out onto the Amumu. A great combination of the Orianna and the Amumu ultimate doing so much damage, decimating this blue team. The Odd One is still very much alive and very, very, very big. The Darius falls as well as the Lee Sin, and it looks like the Odd One and Zyra are actually going to chase this one down. Amumu is very low. The Grasping Roots manages to land on him. The Q coming down from the Zyra, but the slow coming out of the Glitterlance Lulu going to be a little bit too much. Amumu just going to bandage toss to a minion to get himself out of that one. So that was a one fight for the blue team, because they did, I believe, manage to pick up that dragon. Did they? Yes, they did. The Odd One did take that dragon, but now all of a sudden Caitlyn is in the mix. And oh my god, and as I say that, one of them goes down immediately. I believe the feast is up for Cho'Gath. There's the flash, there's the feast, takes down that Amumu, but it looks like the Odd One is going to go down as well. So that was another 2-for-1. Really not a bad trade overall. The Odd One is going to have to build those stacks up again, but getting those assists and Zyra picking up that Lulu, definitely a great trade. Got a little bit of damage down onto that turret as well as the dragon, evening up that gold a little bit, but still a 3k gold difference for that red team, even though the kills are even. Those extra 2 turrets definitely paying off, and I believe they do have a dragon over the blue team. I think they're even on what we've seen, but from the looks of the gold, I think they may have gotten another dragon, but I could very well be wrong. It could also just be CS leads, but while we're looking at the CS, why not? Why don't we talk about the CS for a minute here? 144 to 151 in favor of the Darius, so very close in the top lane. 104 to 95 in the jungle, still very even. 154 to 193, pretty big difference, a 40 CS difference in favor of the Orianna on the red team, and 173, 169 on the AD carries. Once again, very, very close. So the only real difference coming from that mid lane, the 196 to 156. But the 3 kills coming out of the Zyra versus the 1 from the Orianna. So seeing their total gold here, Zyra sitting at 7,000 even and 7,300 for Orianna. So just a couple hundred gold ahead. And now we have Rhux and the Odd One trying to get onto this Caitlyn. Rhux is going to put down a ward to try to really block off this Caitlyn, and Odd One's just going to feast that one, get a stack. You always love using your feast, not just for the damage, but also to gain a stack off of that one, so not waste it on a minion just to make yourself more tanky. Also getting the kill and getting yourself another stack. Why not get a kill while you're trying to stack yourself up with HP? So I'm actually very surprised to see how well Rhux is doing. Went very quickly for that Ravenous Hydra on a Lee Sin, which is very interesting. But Rhux is now, as I'm talking about him and how good he's doing, or how well he's doing, sorry, he is now kind of getting caught. Tries to use that ward to get over to the other side, but K for Kimchi on Lulu is going to pick that one up. So sorry, Rhux, kind of that commentator's curse, I guess, starting to talk about how well you're doing, and then all of a sudden you kind of faff about a little bit in the jungle, and you end up dying. So, that happened. That's a thing. the blue team now trying to take down this turret. The Amumu actually going to ultimate over top of this Ezreal and Sona, but a great Orianna ultimate coming out over the wall. I don't know if they're actually going to have enough to take down this Amumu. A great flash into the brush, managing to save his life while they already took down this Ezreal, and the crescendo coming out of Sona, and the ultimate also coming down out of Zyra with the Ignite is going to pick up Orianna. So 1-for-1 trade, but what an incredible play coming out of that Orianna, sending the ball so far over that wall to hit not only Sona but also Ezreal with that that shockwave, doing just so much damage and allowing Amumu to kind of clean that one up. An interesting thing too, seeing Amumu in the jungle again. You very rarely see Amumu in the jungle in the at least in the American LCS. Every now and again you tend to see it in the European LCS, but he's really not that popular anymore. Kind of having those support junglers, which I know people like TheOddOne used to love to play. That was kind of his role of supporting everybody and getting his carries fed. But not really his playstyle anymore, because the Season 3 meta kind of requires the jungler to be pretty strong in himself. So either being quite tanky and supporting his team, but still also doing a bit of damage, which is, I think, why TheOddOne tends to favor things like the Cho'Gath, because with that feast, he is quite a damage threat, but also providing a ton of tankiness to his team. So he's kind of being that support without itemizing fully for support. But as we are talking about, OddOne, Rhux is getting himself in a pretty bad situation. Has to use a safeguard to try to get away from this one. Q's over to a minion. Manages to gain a little bit of distance between him and the Darius, but it looks like the red team is now closing in on this one. But the Wildturtle having the arcane shift over into that Baron pit, but taking a couple shots from the Baron's going to take him down pretty darn low. The flash coming out of Rhux, but actually failed the flash over the wall and ended up just going a little distance, couple yards if even. And managing to give that Darius another kill, which he really does not need. 5-3-3 Darius. And he is quite tanky. So I don't really like that one. That's the one person you do not want fed is that Darius, because when he can just guillotine your entire team. I don't know, guillotine or guillotine, however you choose to say that one. Maybe I'll swap it up every now and again to try to make all of my fans happy of how you say that word, but you don't want him running around using that guillotine on your entire team, because he will ace your team and he will pentakill your team if he gets the chance to do so. Looks like the TheOddOne and Wildturtle we're trying to seal away that blue buff from Orianna, but it did get picked up very quickly from Orianna, and just right before the TheOddOne actually snuck his face into that brush, and a couple seconds before Wildturtle got to pop his ultimate off. Looks like the blue team is starting to group up a little bit, but Rhux once again going up towards that top lane. Don't know if that's the best choice right now. He should probably be making his way over to the middle, where the action is currently taking place. The TheOddOne getting a good rupture onto the Orianna. The the arcane shift coming out of Wildturtle to try to pick up some damage onto Orianna, but there's a shockwave going on. Rhux especially is in a lot of danger, but Robert E. Lee Kaelin just gets absolutely blown up from Zyra. So much damage coming out of her right now with the Rabadon's death cap and that extra needlessly large rod. So incredible how much damage that's going on, but a great ultimate from Amumu hitting Zyra and the Sona, two people you really want to get, but the crescendo coming out of Sona, locking up a few people, the shutdown bonus going to Amumu from the Zyra, and here comes Darius doing his little guillotine trick. And it looks like we still have three members of the blue team alive, and it looks like Wildturtle might be in a little bit of a pickle here, getting apprehended from Darius, and the kick actually coming from Rhux into Wildturtle. Could Rhux actually have killed Wildturtle here? Looks like he did manage to kill his own teammate by kicking Darius right into Wildturtle. Definitely not the best play on that one. And is the TheOddOne actually going to have enough to kill Darius? I believe he should when his cooldowns come up, but it's not actually the cooldowns, it is his mana bar right now, which is pretty much completely nil. The TheOddOne's still chasing that Darius, and Rhux actually going in onto the Amumu. The Ignite was down. Currently not enough to kill him. He does safeguard to that ward, but is not close enough to get that one. The Kaelin ultimate is up, so if she gets one more attack, there's enough, so she's going to end up killing Rhux. And it looks like the TheOddOne is still chasing Darius. This has been like a minute-long chase here. The Odd One literally just waiting for mana. He is close enough, and there's finally the feast going down and killing that Darius. So hope it was worth it, Odd One, because you do now have that blue buff, which is going to make him kind of scary. The Rupture going off onto the Lulu. I don't know if the Odd One's going to get out of this one. Oh, there's a great Orianna ultimate, the ball sitting on a Mumu. I thought the Odd One might have actually been able to escape that one because he did now have that blue buff. So he was going to be able to harass people down and get a little bit of damage onto them. But not if the Orianna ultimate comes out and kind of screws your face. So that's not the position you want to be in as a kind of big Cho'Gath. So Odd One losing a few stacks there, and also rotating the blue buff that he got from Darius onto that Orianna, which is not where you want the blue buff. There you go, just had to take a sip of my drink there. My throat was getting a little bit parched. It looks like Orianna is going to give Caitlyn a little bit of a hand on this red buff. And by a little bit of a hand, I mean just kind of take the small creeps because it does help her. Now going to give a little bit of a hand to the Amumu. And by give a little hand to the Amumu, I meant take the entire creep camp. So that's what Orianna does. That's what the mid laner does. Wants to get that farm, wants to become fed in the game. Wildturtle being pretty ballsy, jumping over that wall. Not having any wards up in that area. Didn't even know what he was getting himself into, so kind of ballsy play. He really favored his odds there. Was feeling pretty confident. And looking at the items, it is full blue build Ezreal. His Tear of the Goddess should be pretty much full here. It is 750, 7 out of 750. So he should be turning that into mirror mana quite quickly here, because that is quite a big damage spike as long as you have that last whisper on you. Those single target spells that Ezreal is very potent for. Ends up doing a lot of damage with that kind of toggle ability from the mirror mana. And once again, Rhux getting locked down from this Amumu, but Rhux is not doing a lot of damage. He does have that Ravenous Hydra and the pickaxe with a little bit tanky, but he is not really puncturing the shell of this Amumu. He must be made out of kind of like Scotty towels or bounce towels or something like that. Some pretty nice brand of paper towel that the mummy is wrapped around. Cottonelle tissue paper or something like that. Now I'm just losing my mind here. He's not taking a lot of damage from the likes of Rhux. And I don't really know if many people on this enemy team are going to be taking a lot of damage from Rhux. And Ezreal making the smart decision of using his Arcane Shift away from Caitlyn. He kind of the solo queue mindset where he did beat Caitlyn one-on-one before. I'm sure a lot of people would have just taken that as a sign of, like, let's fight Caitlyn, let's go, because she might be feeling confident just because she has that red buff. But Orianna was just sitting in that blue brush. Would have pretty much spelled the death of Wildturtle if he had Arcane shifted into Caitlyn to get that extra little bit of damage. And now it's pretty much going to happen again where Darius was coming down to try to support that Caitlyn, try to pick Wildturtle off, but Wildturtle knowing a little bit too much about what's going on here and manages to get back to base. No problems at all. So let's look a bit at the items. Wildturtle did go back and finish that mirror mana. Definitely going to help him in his DPS. I actually just want to see how much AD he is currently sitting at. He is sitting at 293. So a lot of damage going to be coming out of that Wildturtle. And once again, Rhux finding Amumu. And look at the damage coming down out of Amumu. With that Haunting Guise, he is doing a lot of damage. That kick actually working very, very well for Rhux. And a double flash coming out. The flash coming out from Amumu to try to land that bandage toss, but a reactionary flash coming out of Rhux to dodge said bandage toss. Great play on both people's parts. I'm sure any one of those plays would have worked against me. So great play from both of those players, really showing their skills on their champions and their reaction time, which is quite impressive. Being able to react to skill shots that are currently traveling across the map very, very quickly. And now Wildturtle just poking away, and it's quite impressive. One thing that you do have to kind of keep in note is the mirror mana toggle effect. I'm just going to kind of point this one out a little bit. Single target spells and attacks on hit consume 3% of the current mana to deal bonus damage. So he's getting an additional 101 damage for every one of his single target spells, which is quite a big deal. It's a lot of extra damage, but one thing that people don't tend to realize is that every time he lands one of those, it's going to drain 3% of his mana to do that extra damage. So though he has those mana items, his mana is going to drain very, very quickly. This is where blue Ezreal, I find, kind of needs that blue buff. Because if you're very good with your skill shots and you manage to hit a lot of them, you're all of a sudden going to be draining a lot of your mana very, very quickly, as well as doing damage. So having that blue buff on Ezreal, not necessarily a bad thing to have, but doesn't look like they're going to be playing it that way. Probably just going to give some more to the Zyra. And apparently somebody wants to pally a Norm with me. So maybe that was supposed to be play a Norm. But I'm sure I'll be down for that afterwards. Should probably just let him know. Commentating be done in 10 minutes, I would say. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know how long this game is going to go. It could very well be 40 minutes, if that's how long this game is going to go. But I would think teams kind of know how to. The thing about playing, like commentating these high ELO games, when you have some pretty well-known players in it, like TheOddOne, Wildturtle, Rhux, these guys know how to end games. So I'm assuming for the majority of people in this high ELO bracket, they do kind of know how to end these games. When they get an advantage, they are really going to push that advantage. So I don't normally see these games going. For a very long time, it's a fairly rare occasion for these games to go past the 60-minute mark. But it could very well happen. The Amumu ultimate actually whiffing a little bit, only getting the Sona and the odd one. Still always good to get that Sona, but the Shockwave completely whiffing, not hitting anybody on the blue team. So this could be a very, very good chance for the blue team to really kind of engage back on this one. Rhux is now coming back in. A whole bunch of very big ultimates are now down on the red team. The Lulu ultimate, the Orianna ultimate, and the Amumu ultimate all being down. That's a very, very big deal, and they have no sustain on that red team, while the blue team does have Sona, so she is going to be healing everybody up, and she still has half mana. Rhux going in, really favoring his odds on this one, kicks back the Orianna, and the Feast coming out of the odd one, going to be enough damage to take that one down, finish up that kill. Rhux taking a lot of damage from Caitlyn, but they're going to try to get on that one. Amumu jumping over the wall to try to pick somebody off. K for Kimchi on Lulu, picking up that odd one, and Rhux now once again going in onto Amumu. Not going to be enough to take the... Oh, never mind. Lee Sin does end up dying from the ace in the hole and from Caitlyn. And it looks like everybody just jumped over that wall and started killing the enemy team. Zara using her Zoni's Hourglass, but the Q coming out of Darius just going to be plenty to kill her. And now it's only Sona alive, running away from the Darius. The exhaust coming out of Sona to try to mitigate some damage, but Darius is quicker. So Sona not having those boots is not exactly the best situation to be in, because Darius just kind of walked and killed her. So the Apprehend did help pick that one up, but managing to catch up to the Sona and kill her ends up being a 2 for 5. Really not the position that the blue team wanted to be after a pretty successful fight at the very beginning, after they lost quite a few of their big ultimates on that red team. Thank you for continuing to message me while I already said I'm commentating, but alright. I will have words with him later. So everybody going to go B now. The Baron being picked up by the red team. Definitely not the position the blue team wanted to find themselves in. Going to be very difficult to fend this one off. Not only were they ahead in the beginning, but now they're ahead by about 4k gold, just over 4k gold, and they have the Baron buff. So expect to see a pretty big push coming out of this this red team here, because they are ahead in the item game, and they're now ahead Baron. So, very scary position to be in. Not really sure how they're going to get out of this one. But who knows? I have seen people come back from worse situations than this. So it could very well be that... and the thing is, they do have some very, very experienced players on their team, having Wildturtle, Rhux, and TheOddOne on their team. Definitely people who can get the job done if they are in the hole. They don't tend to panic in these situations. They do kind of realize that these situations do tend to happen, and they can come back from that one. So hopefully they can come back. Hopefully they make this a really, really close game, because that's all I tend to want to see. I don't really have any allegiances to anybody, but I do always like seeing very good League of Legends play, so hopefully these guys can come back a little bit, put this way into the in the late game, and really see the full item builds come out of these guys, and see what type of damage and plays that they can make just with good positioning and good kind of shot calling, I would say. Once again, taking a little drink, because man, Colby Cheese, when he used to do his commentaries and things like that, definitely made that pretty clear that having a glass of water beside you when you're commentating is definitely worth it. Because, man, talking for this long, normally people can't shut me up, but talking for this long non-stop, kind of giving information about the plays that are going on and trying to think while you're talking, like, really kind of parches you. But here we continue to go. Business as usual for a lot of these guys in the Diamond League, and some of them in the Challenger League, and some of them in the LCS itself. And it's just looking like we have a little bit of a standoff here. Orianna just dancing with her balls. Stop playing with your balls. Come on, Orianna. Jesus. But it looks like we do have an Oracles on Lulu. It is about halfway done. So it looks like they're really kind of trying to start the end of the game here, is I guess what I'm trying to get at. The Lulu picking up that Oracles and kind of clearing out the enemy jungle. Really making it so the red team can make a play with this Baron buff. But as I'm saying that, the red team is pushing down the mid lane, but Rhux decided to go and push this top lane. Actually managed to get up to the inhibitor turret. I don't really know how much damage he managed to do to it. Really barely any. So not a huge deal. But did manage to put a little bit of pressure on the red team. And that's actually pretty huge. But Mumu actually following Rhux through that Baron pit. Lee Sin just kind of jumped through with a war jump in his Iron Will or Safeguard first. And then Mumu managing to get a great bandage toss over the wall and following Rhux, doing quite a bit of damage to him, while Rhux barely returned any of that damage. It's kind of one of the things about Lee Sin, building that Ruby Sightstone gets him a little bit more tanky and does allow you to make some pretty sweet plays, being able to war jump and escape from things, but it does inhibit your damage a little bit. So he is quite tanky, and he does have that ability to kind of jump and things like that, but his damage is certainly lacking. Definitely not a damage threat like Darius is, but I can't really compare Lee Sin to Darius right now, because Darius is sitting at 10-4-3, so hard to not be a damage threat when you have 10 kills. The thing about Darius, though, which I think the red team is actually in a pretty decent position for, is that they have the blue Ezreal build with those Iceborne Gauntlets, so we will be able to kite that Darius pretty darn well. But look at the damage going down onto the odd one. A great flash initiate from Amumu, managing to hit 4 members of that blue team. But here comes Wildturtle on Ezreal, going to do as much damage as he can to the Amumu. The bandage toss misses onto the Zyra, but it doesn't matter. The Darius picks that one up. Ezreal picks up the Amumu and is now trying to kite that Darius as much as he can. He's trying to do as much damage to both of these members as he possibly can. It looks like he's going to actually pick up a triple kill after killing both of those members. The quadra kill coming out of Wildturtle's Ezreal. I really want to see him get this pentakill, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. The Orianna running away like a little bitch that she should be, because Wildturtle is currently running for that penta. But, it could be an unofficial penta here if Orianna is willing to stay. But the dissonance is going to be activated and just going to run away. But the ultimate from the Ezreal is up. Not going to be enough. Doesn't manage to hit Orianna. Oh, I would have loved to see a Wildturtle pentakill, or even an unofficial pentakill. And as I'm saying that that's not going to happen, he does manage to chase Orianna a little bit. Orianna getting to the other side, and Ezreal trying to find Orianna. I don't know if he's going to find her in time. No, he's going to check that other brush first. She is going to get away, so the Orianna B also signifies the bye-bye of the Ezreal unofficial pentakill. Unfortunate, but great play on the Ezreal part. I think the exactly what I was saying before, the red team felt very, very confident of how far ahead they were, so they dove that inhibitor turret quite deep. And Ezreal's Iceborne Gauntlets is pretty much the bane of Darius's existence. You can kite him very, very well, especially as Ezreal. When you have that Blade of the Ruined King and those Iceborne Gauntlets, you can really kite that guy with pretty much no issues at all while you're really taking him down, because your damage is going to be incredible on a tanky target like Darius, and you can just kite him around and really help out your team. And he managed to pick up that quadra kill, making him quite strong here. I don't actually know if he had the Blade of the Ruined King in that last fight. I'm probably going to see that after I've uploaded this game, but now that he has that Blade of the Ruined King, just in case he didn't before, and I said that he had that to kite Darius around, now that he has that Blade of the Ruined King, if he did just purchase it, he now has that huge kite ability to use the active from Blade of the Ruined King and those Iceborne Gauntlets to really kind of screw over Darius. And oh my god, there is the ultimate coming out of Zyra in the middle of the jungle for no reason at all. So You know what, that's actually pretty impressive. Is I can understand when people like forget that they're typing or forget to press enter and screw up on like flash or something like that, because that doesn't matter if you click, that's just you accidentally hit F or D and you flash. But Zyra, you have to not type, click your R, and then left click on the map. So I don't know what the hell happened there that Zyra managed to cast her ultimate in the middle of absolutely nowhere. But things happen, I guess. But here comes the TheOddOne and Lee Sin trying to take down this Darius, but he is very, very tanky. So going to pop that Randuin's Omen just to try to run away from this one, slow people down. But it doesn't look like the TheOddOne or Rhux were really trying to chase that one down. But good position to be in that Darius is now going back to base, and the Baron has respawned. And now Lulu is quite low. And Rhux finding the Orianna, the flash having to come out of her. And here comes Ezreal doing so much damage. The Zhonya's coming out, but not actually being picked up by that Arcane Barrage from Ezreal. But they do pick up the Orianna. Great position for the blue team to be in. This Baron is currently up. Everybody's at full health. They really need to go in on this one and try to take this one down. Amumu is even being, as well as the Lulu. They did get quite low. Well, at least Lulu did get quite low. So this should be a free Baron for the blue team. Exactly what I was saying before. You have a couple guys on this team who are used to these situations, used to being behind, and they can really pick things back up to take a win out of the game. So it looks like they are really turning this one into a really close game here, getting that second Baron of the game. And with that first Baron that the red team ended up getting, they didn't even take down an inhibitor turret. So they did manage to get that top second tier turret, but they didn't get an inhibitor turret, they didn't get an inhibitor, they really made no progress, and they didn't actually take a lot of kills either, so they did not extend their lead at all. It almost seemed like the Baron was kind of worthless for them. It just gave them that little bit of I guess, pressure resistance that they didn't have to worry about the blue team engaging. But it looks like Rhux is coming in, manages to kick that Caitlyn back, and doing tons of damage. Wildturtle is unstoppable, killing that Caitlyn. So much damage coming out of the crescendo from Sona, and Wildturtle trying to escape from this Amumu. I don't know if he's going to be able to get away, but the safeguard shielding Wildturtle. The ultimate coming out from Ezreal as well, doing so much damage, getting through that shield of Lulu. But the Locket of the Iron Solari going to keep her alive. But there's a Q from Rhux. It's actually going to be enough even through the flash of Lulu. So there's a 4-for-0 trade. But here comes the Orianna, the Shockwave doing quite a bit of damage and actually picking up the Zyra, but that's actually going to be the ace. So 30-30 in kills, the gold almost being evened up. Still a 2k gold lead in favor of that red team, but now there's 30 seconds until Caitlyn, one of the major damage threats from this red team, is actually going to be available to this red team to fend this one off. I don't believe that the red team is going to be up in time. They are just absolutely destroying the base of the red team. So blue team getting that great second Baron and using it to their advantage to push through, getting a great team fight in, keeping Ezreal alive. An incredible crescendo, unbelievable turnaround in that game. I actually didn't expect that one to happen, but I'm kind of glad I called it beforehand of just this could certainly happen with the guys that they had on their team. Unbelievable display in that game. So close, 7,600 to 76,000 to 75,000, 30-30. What a close game, and some great plays. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that one, and thank you once again for everybody who likes and favorites and subscribes and watches, and all you fans out there and all you supporters. Thank you so much. These videos are all for you guys, and I love doing them, so I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, guys.